Okay, yeah, let's continue for coated products. Yeah, this mean the product, meat product still, yeah, made from poultry, fish, or meat from beef. Yeah, but here the main product, yeah, the famous one is from poultry. Yeah, chicken nugget. Yeah, I think it's very, and also fish finger. Yeah, it's very famous. Yeah, you can see here the nugget. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, this fish finger. Yeah, and also chicken katsu. Chicken karage, yeah, this kind of coated product. Yeah, let's start for the coated product. So in Indonesia, coated product is very, sorry, I moved the video. This kind of very famous product. Yeah, you can see here the curve. Yeah, the nugget. Yeah, is the booming is very high. Yeah, even at the beginning it's very low. Yeah, compared to the sausage. Yeah, the sausage already present very long time ago. Yeah, but nugget in 1995. Yeah, that is already past the sausage product in 99, and actually today I think it's more separately. Yeah, people consume more nugget compared to sausage. Yeah. Maybe not only the term in the cheaper, yeah, but also because the coating product, yeah, can enhance the flavor, texture, and also appearance, yeah, and also there is the pleasant golden color and crispy, yeah, crispy texture. So this is why people, Indonesian people, yeah, like nugget, yeah, consume nugget compared to sausage, yeah, actually, yeah. Okay, so in America and United States, yeah, also for the coated products, yeah, poultry is the number one, the first, yeah, that share of market is 50%, yeah, coated products made from poultry, yeah, seafood 30%, yeah, followed by vegetable 15% and others 5%. Others including beef, yeah. So chicken, yeah, poultry is very high, yeah, as a raw material for breaded product. Sometimes we call breaded product because we put the bread, yeah, bread in the outside, in the but all is the, and if we call coated product is better because coated mean, yeah, whatever the type of coating, yeah, is because this is coated, yeah. So the product, yeah, we can use in whole muscle or in stillborn intake, yeah, in the product, yeah. For example, chicken wing, chicken drum, yeah. Do you still remember? Yeah, drums mean part of the what is the leg, yeah, in bahasa is paha bawah, yeah. The drumstick, yeah. So also for the ground or chuck meat, for the ground, yeah, here the principal process is like to meet what is the that big to meet the sausage, yeah. We produce dog like this, yeah. Then followed by the formation of the shape of the dog, yeah. After that, maybe later we will show you the mechanism, yeah, to produce this product, yeah, for nugget, chicken nugget, yeah. Also for field product, yeah, there is cordon bleu, yeah. In France, cordon bleu, yeah. This blue is bleu, and chicken kiev, yeah. So here the meat can be changed also with fish, beef, or pork, yeah. Okay, here's the example of coated products, yeah, very famous in Indonesia. In Japanese, the original Japanese, yeah, chicken katsu and chicken karage, yeah. So the difference, chicken karage is without bread, yeah, no breaded, yeah, no breading process. But for chicken katsu, there is the bread, yeah, and fish fillet, yeah, from finger fish like this, yeah. And here it's very famous in Indonesia, yeah, chicken nugget, yeah. And also for tempura, yes, Japanese style, yeah, there is whatever the Japanese style tempura is not only made from shrimp, yeah. But also there is from another vegetable, yeah, such as carrot, yeah, even chili, yeah, cabbage, yeah, all can be produced. And also here, but pumpkin, yeah, pumpkin also, and also sweet potatoes, yeah, made as a tempura. It's very interesting, yeah, very nice, yeah, tempura. Okay, so here for the processed chicken katsu, yeah, means with please note the ingredient and also the coating type, yeah, type of coating in chicken katsu. Yeah. You hear the voice? The video?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is bread, yeah. Bread crumb. The default solution is butter. Okay, enjoy your meal, ya. This is chicken katsu. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Yeah. So for the short video here, we have seen the chicken katsu. Yeah. So please remark the process chicken katsu. Yeah. Okay. So we have watched the chicken katsu. So now please make the remark, yeah, the difference with chicken karaage, yeah, chicken katsu versus chicken karaage. In terms of the use of the coating, yeah, and also later please make the flow process so you understand the and easy to memorize, yeah. If you make your own flow process, so you can understand and you can memorize easily, yeah. So you still present now? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Please for the chicken karaage. Make a marinade like this, yeah. From skinless butter chicken. Okay, marinade. In the flour, yeah, flour, potato starch, and flour. Okay, that's for 1 minute. Then make again for the second flour to dig a coating. Then frying, yeah. So here we can use bread, yeah, breadcrumb, yeah. We use breadcrumb for producing chicken karaage. Here is the chicken karaage. Okay, so you know, yeah, the different chicken katsu and chicken karaage, yeah. What is the difference in terms of coating?
For the chicken katsu, the coating is breadcrumbs.
Before breadcrumb?
For
egg,
flour.
Flour and breadcrumb, yeah. Here, only the marinade, yes, solution
Only flour.
and flour, yeah. Okay. So you can make by yourself, and your home, Okay. So
Sir,
yeah, please.
can I ask question?
Yeah, please. Of course.
Do you know the tips? Because sometimes when I eat coating, like when I make or eat, sometimes I found that the coating is fell off, like ngeplek
Okay, okay.
ngeplek,
Okay, yeah.
nggak menyatu
Not
dengan
complete. Yeah, not complete.
proteinnya.
Okay, so
Do you
maybe
know why?
okay. Many factor, I think there is no, still there is separation between the meat and the coating, You mean maybe
Yes.
there's many factor. Yeah, maybe after you follow this all, you can find the answer, later,
Oh,
little by
okay.
little.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
so okay, so let's start for the coated products. So we know, in Indonesia the famous brand, Charm and Fiesta. Which one is better? Which one is more expensive?
Fiesta.
Huh? Fiesta, Fiesta is better, here is for the premium, like premium product, Charm is not for the economical product, This is produced by Charon, Charon Pokpan, Okay, very big company, Charon Pokpan. Okay, and then why coated product in Indonesia very popular, because normally in the coated product we have the principal process, pre-dusting, buttering and breading. So here very important for pre-dusting, to make a layer, between the meat with the coated, with the coating later, with the breadcrumb, etc. Buttering is also a kind of solution, made from the water with the flour, etc. Buttering. And breading here is breadcrumb. Breadcrumb, many type of breadcrumb. Later we will learn about this. So why coated product is popular? Because here the texture, crispy texture. People like crispy texture. Attractive surfaces, and also popular with consumer. And there is flavor improvement or modification during the frying process. And also provide extra nutritional value. In the time and the breeding, and because in chicken katsu, for example, we use egg, like here, so this extra nutritional value that here, and also convenience, for the consumer, and lower raw material costs and longer shelf life, compared to sausage, sausage emulsion type, if when you buy sausage emulsion type, the packaging is in vacuum packaging, but for chicken coated product like this, chicken nugget, here we found without vacuum, because we already cooked, so already staple the product, And also by using coating product, we can increase yield. So in US, normally the maximum allowed is already only 30%. But in Canada, in other countries, maybe until 50%. So the content, the weight product of butter and breading, and the coating weight, in the final product, maximum only 30%. So the meat is higher, 70%. But in Canada and other countries, Indonesia maybe also allowed until 50%. Okay, here is the example chicken nugget. So here the working principle to make nugget. So the chicken meat is mixed with spices, salt, herb, and also another seasoning, and grown into the particle size, yeah, and then normally in 1 to 5 millimeter, yeah, the size of particle meat, and then spread out in the pan like this, yeah, in the tray pan, and then spread and froze and make a freezing, yeah, make a freezing. After freezing, we can later we can cut, yeah. So after we got the cutting that already freeze, yeah, we do the coating, yeah. The step of coating is pre-dusting, yeah, and then buttering and breading, yeah. Bread because we use breadcrumb, yeah. So here is the pre-dusting, here is the butter, yeah, and here after apply it with the breadcrumb, yeah. So you can see for the breadcrumb, and then followed by frying process, yeah. And then we cut the product, yeah, chicken nugget, yeah. So this is important, with pre-dusting, yeah, buttering and breading. So who has sorry, I don't not sorry, I don't not the question that posed what there is problem the product, please. Can you answer? Can you sorry? Can you repeat your answer, your question?
My question, sir.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay, Hania, please repeat your question.
I just want to know why sometimes I found that the meat is not well menyatu dengan baik dengan coatingnya. Sometimes the coating is fell off from the meat.
Yeah. So the formulation of pre-dusting and buttering, yeah, I think must be improve. Yeah, maybe there's need improvement in step pre-dusting, buttering, and breading. Yeah, if we pass pre-dusting and only buttering and breading, yeah, there is a risk of that we call, what is it called, peel off. Yeah, the coated peel out, yeah, from the meat. Yeah, so here very important pre-dust. Yeah, pre-dusting step is important. And what kind of pre-dusting? Yeah, the flour also maybe different flour make different effects. So maybe later there is explanation about this. Yeah. Okay. So the principle, there is 3 steps. Yeah, pre-dusting, buttering, and breading. Yeah. So, and if we pass the pre-dusting here, maybe the only buttering and breading. Yeah, there is risk of this. So we can make this to make the thicker coating. Yeah, the coat, yeah, the coating of this we can make a repetition. Yeah, for example, after breading, yeah, you pass with the buttering again, breaded. Yeah, buttering, breaded. Maybe this to increase the yield. Yeah, this way there is limitation 30% in US. Yeah, but for another country until 50%. Yeah, maybe when you buy shrimps, yeah, maybe the breading and buttering make double or triple. Yeah, triple process for buttering and breading. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, continue for the example. Yeah, this is the after frozen. Yeah, as already frozen that make a pre-dusting. Here is the visualization of buttering. Yeah, buttering solution, and then here with the breadcrumb. Here is the very fine breadcrumb. Yeah. So when we cut, yeah, we get like a layer like this. Yeah, for meat itself, yeah, the meat is ground meat like like when we make sausage, yeah. So I think also doing the make this, yeah, it's better that we get myofibrillar, yeah, in the outside meat. So this is very good binder, yeah, for myofibrillar, yeah. And here we use bread dust, butter, and breading, yeah, for breadcrumb. Okay, this for the home making, yeah, homemade chicken, yeah. And here I think like chicken katsu, yeah, similar, but this for not nugget, yeah, because this is no grinding, yeah, just the whole meat, yeah, whole meat chicken meat, yeah. So here for the pre-dusting, buttering, and this for that we call breading, yeah, breading, because we use breadcrumb, yeah. Okay, here also another type, yeah, pre-dusting, and then followed by the egg, yeah, and then crumb, yeah, chicken katsu, yeah. Okay, the schematic in nugget industry, yeah, portioning, coating. So normally we use the, yeah, okay, and then after coating, frying, all filtration, and open the cooking system, there's freezing, yeah, and packaging, yeah. Okay, so the principle is just make the grinding meat, yeah, to get the form like the meat dough like this, yeah, that we call maybe here is nugget dough, yeah. Then after freezing, yeah, we cut into the shape that we want, and followed by the pre-dusting, buttering, and breading, yeah. So yeah, for example, from 21 gram chicken nugget, yeah, from in white, dark, or white meat, yeah. Then by pre-dusting, normally with flour only, yeah, we get 6% pickup, mean the increase of weight is 6%. And by using butter is a kind of solution, yeah. So the butter also with butter viscosity in industry must be controlled, yeah, by using the stain viscosity cup is kind to easily measure the viscosity of the butter, yeah. And after that, bread, yeah, by using bread, yeah, with the breadcrumb, yeah, the pickup is become 27% at this step, yeah. So in Canada can until 50%, yeah. And then after that, par frying or deep frying, yeah, we use, and then freezing, yeah, using mechanical freezing or cryogenic, yeah. Okay, so to understand how to make chicken nugget, yeah, I think it's better we watch the video, yeah. This is in McDonald's, yeah. This video, I think, to counter the bad issue that chicken McDonald's made from, yeah, that sometimes that not good quality of meat, etc., or sometimes also issued that chicken nugget in McDonald's made from pork meat like this. So this video is very interesting, yeah. So please, from the video, yeah, take a note about the list of ingredient used, yeah, and also type of coating, yeah, and also finally please make a flow process chart, yeah. Okay, let's
up and boot up.
Well, here we are in Tyson Foods Irvine County facility, which is one of 5 facilities in the United States that make chicken McNuggets for McDonald's.
Now, my initial reaction is that there's a lot of people here. Because, you know, people think that you just come to this giant factory, you have a bin of chickens that you put into a grinder, and you grind them up and you pour that into a mold, and that's what's used to make a chicken McNugget.
That's not true.
All right, I'm going to show you a picture. Here, give me that picture. If you do a search on the internet for chicken McNuggets, this pops up. What is this?
I don't know where that picture came from, but that's not used in chicken McNuggets.
Now they say that this is pink slime. So if you grind up the parts of the chicken that you use, does it look like this?
No, and we'll see that later in the process today.
All right. Amy, this blows my mind. I mean, there are multiple lines of people making cuts on the chicken, just like you would at home or just like a butcher would.
Absolutely. Right here is a whole cut up chicken. So you can see here we've got the dark meat with the drumsticks and the thighs, which does not go in Chicken McNuggets. And then you've got the breast meat with the rib meat and the chicken tenderloins, which do go into Chicken McNuggets. Now, before we make the McNuggets, we remove this skin.
Yeah.
And then we later add a small portion back for flavor in the Chicken McNuggets.
For flavor.
For flavor.
Everybody likes a little bit of chicken skin.
Sure.
This is the only part of the chicken that goes into the Chicken McNugget.
Absolutely.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
No beaks.
No beaks.
No feet.
No feet.
Okay, Amy, so what are we seeing here?
So this is our grinding operation. This is 100% white meat chicken, so the exact same cuts that you saw previously. And then this is the actual grinding plate that we use to grind the chicken.
You know, this looks like a pretty coarse grind, much coarser than you'd find, say, in a supermarket.
Absolutely. We grind it to give you that really meaty texture that you expect in Chicken McNuggets.
Okay.
So there's still a couple more steps to go through.
What is happening here? I can't stop watching it. It's like a lava lamp.
So this is the machine that combines all of the ingredients together. This is the same chicken you saw earlier, mixed with the chicken skin and the marination.
Are those ingredients secret?
No, they're not. So the full list is on the website, but some of the ingredients are water, sodium phosphates, and food starch, which give us that really juicy bite to the Chicken McNugget.
Okay.
And then it's also salt to really increase the flavor of the product. And finally, rosemary extract, which is a natural antioxidant that protects the flavor of the product throughout its shelf life. So this is the final blended product.
Give me that picture. Let me see it. See this? This is what people think the final step looks like, but it's got a completely different texture.
Exactly.
That still looks like meat.
Absolutely.
So Amy, this is it. This is where the nuggets are formed.
Yes. Each nugget goes through a very thin layer of batter, followed by a thin layer of breader, and that breader contains some of the flavor components such as celery and white pepper.
Okay.
And that's
I
followed...
can smell the white pepper,
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely. And then the final step is the tempura coating, or a thicker batter, which is really unique to the nugget. It's a blend of wheat flour, corn flour, starches, and leavening agents, and the leavening agents aerate the batter, and that's what makes the nuggets really unique.
Oh man, Amy. First of all, it smells so good in here.
It does. So they've been through the fryer here at the plant. So as you can see, we only partially cook them here in the plant, and basically we do that to set the tempura batter.
Oh, so yeah, it's raw inside.
Absolutely.
So that's just to get this texture.
Yes.
And then they cook them when they get to the McDonald's.
Yes, they fully cook them in the McDonald's restaurant.
Yes.
They'll be flash frozen again to lock in the juiciness and the flavor, and then they'll be bagged and boxed and on their way to the restaurant. Would you like to try one? We can go see Gina in the kitchen.
Yeah, she's cooking them up right now.
Yeah.
Will you be mad if I tell you I haven't had a McNugget in a long, long time?
So Gina, what do you do here?
So we are in our sensory kitchen where we evaluate nuggets every hour off the line.
So you eat chicken nuggets every hour.
Absolutely.
All right, so what's a perfect nugget?
So first we evaluate on appearance. So we want to make sure that it's a light golden brown.
Okay.
Make sure that it has ridges and peaks.
Yes.
And then you need to have a slightly firm texture,
Okay.
but it's still juicy.
Yes.
And
okay.
then from a flavor perspective, we want to make sure that you pick up on a chicken flavor as well as some slight pepper and celery notes.
Should we try one?
Let's try one.
All right. I'm a barbecue man myself. What about you?
Sweet and sour.
Uh-huh. Oh, see, that's the experience that I remember. That reminds me of my childhood. Mm-hmm. So I've been in the facility. I've seen how they make the Chicken McNuggets and exactly what goes into them.
Okay, so please, someone want to give the answer, list the ingredient used and the coating. Yeah. What is the type of coating?
The ingredients that is used is chicken breast
Chicken breast,
with a little bit of the skin.
skin, yeah, to give flavor, yeah. Again.
Yes. And then for the flavors, there is salt, salt with starch, citric acid, and then all of the ingredients are marinated.
Yes.
And then it will be coated with tempura flour. No, tempura, just tempura.
Yes, there's a comment. Yes, there's this way there is a kind of yeast. Yeah, this is to make the bread. I think this company make
it's extract.
Yeah, this extract also doing the production of bread crumb. Yeah, crumb kind of crumb. Yeah, specific crumb.
They also add preservative like rosemary extract and safflower oil.
Okay, rosemary extract. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so sunflower oil I think is for frying. Yeah. So
Yeah.
rosemary extract is for that give the flavor and also as a preservative. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's all, Hania. Any information that you want to?
Is it the McDonald's use cornstarch?
Cornstarch. Yeah, I think as a mixture, yes, doing the formulation crumb. Yeah. They mentioned, but not shown in the video. Yeah, not shown in the video. Okay, thank you, Aryan. Anyone want to give the other information? No, I think it's that all. Yeah, thank you. So you can see from the video. Yeah, already the process how to make nugget. Yeah, in the big in the big industry. Yeah. And why there is no step pre-dusting? There's step pre-dusting or not? And from the video.
Yes.
There is, but not shown in clear. Yeah.
Not shown, yeah.
Okay. So. Sorry. Yeah. So this is just explanation in more detail. Yeah. But you can read also later by yourself. Yeah. For the complete in the module in the handout. Yeah, for pre-dust, it's kind of blend of dry material. Yeah, mostly wheat and maize flour, and often mixed with the flavoring and seasoning ingredient. So in case in McDonald's, we put what is the pre-dust here, the savory, the white pepper and what white pepper and what's the
celery
and white pepper. Yeah. Okay. So this in dry form, and the function here is to prepare the surface of the product. Yeah, so that butter can adhere uniformly. Yeah, so homogeneous. Yeah, to control the weight of coating by increasing butter pickup, and to improve addition of butter to frozen or greasy product. Yeah. And here also as a carrier of flavor ingredients for the pre-dust. So pre-dust is very important to make homogeneous, and I think to adhere here mean a good addition. Yeah, so there is no peel off from the coating and the meat. Yeah, so when we do the pre-dust, good condition. Yeah, good blending. Yeah, in pre-dust. Yeah, so normally no. Separation between coating and the meat. Yeah. Okay, so pre-dust. Yeah, sometimes it is not used in all product and coated product. Yeah, in the chicken karaage. Yeah, for example. Yeah, no pre-dust. Okay, here just the visualization the many type of pre-dust application in industry. Yeah. Okay, there is not the tide, but using drum that turn around the drum. So brick dust is usually adhere to the surface of meat. Yeah. Okay. Then after pre-dusting is buttering. Yeah. This is the formulation of butter. The function of butter is to to improve appearance. Yeah. So not improve. Yeah. Improve appearance. Also to get a flavor and taste and texture, to get texture. Yeah. More juicy. Yeah. And also provide moisture and mechanical barrier. Yeah. So because pre-dust here make like make a film, yeah, thin layer of film from butter, because the solution become likely the coating, yeah, the surface, so as provide moisture and barrier, and also add nutritional value. Yeah. Normally in this butter, sometimes we add egg, yeah, with yellow egg or whole egg, yeah, liquid egg in the butter, so we can improve the nutritional value. Okay, so there is many type of butter. Yeah, there is unleavened or interface butter. Leavened mean leavening with the improving what is leavening agent mean, the increasing of volume like this. Yeah, there is the like become foaming, the become increasing the volume. Yeah. Unleavened mean without leavening agent. Yeah. So all-purpose butter here make so normally made from starch butter, contain more than 30% starch. Yeah. So here to improve the adhesion. Yeah. Give firmer bite and also quicker set time. Yeah. And here normally for frozen fish portion. Yeah. And also there is leavened tempura style butter. So this is for tempura normally, yeah. Leavened. So the butter we put likely leavening agent. Yeah. You know what's kind of leavening agent that we can use here. So if we use leavening agent in form chemical, yeah, normally sodium bicarbonate, yeah, we use here as a leavening agent. Okay, this for tempur, yeah, tempur butter. And for specialty butter, there's also sometimes for specific application from for example clear coat, yeah, clear mean a little bit more transparent, yeah, often ready microwave, yeah. This is some specialty, but this I think not important. Yeah, the important just butter and stuff, yeah. So here the sometimes for the tempura, yeah, 0.5 or 2%, yeah. Here the measurement, the viscosity, how we have to control the viscosity, because here affect the adhesion of butter with the meat, yeah. So viscosity is very important, yeah. The amount of pick up or thickness of butter, yeah, depend on this viscosity, yeah. For the adhesion butter, yeah, this mainly contains starch, yeah. Here is the picture of viscosity cup, yeah, viscosity cup measurement that we call, what is the stain, yeah, Zahn and stain cup, yeah, viscosity cups, yeah. So for the adhesion butter, mean that have a good adhesion, yeah. This is normally 9 to 12 seconds to pass the top until finish, yeah, pass through the cup, yeah. Need 9 to 12 seconds. Question butter, yeah, mainly contain flour, yeah. Need 28 to 30 seconds, yeah. And for tempura butter, yeah, which contain mixture of starch, flour, and also leavening agent, yeah, normally 45 seconds. So the measurement is not viscosity likely centipoise or this, yeah, but just the time need to pass the butter from the top, yeah, the top here, the top point here, until the pass through the cup all here to pass all the material. This is the qualitative measurement for measuring viscosity of butter. So here the preparation of butter by using the tank, big tank like this in industry. This is to put water, to put the solid powder mixing composition, and that is the mixture. And this the butter application. So in I think in video, in McDonald's video we have already seen the meat pass through this likely the surface of butter. Here the method is overflow. Just the solution put in the top. Sometimes it's effective like this. Through the submerger. So the solution here. So all meat is very completely coated coated by butter. In the surface all. And after buttering, the process is breading. So breading is applied to make, I think here more crispy like this, to breading contribute in the appearance and texture and also increasing the volume. So wide variety of bread is in term of size, color, and material can be used. Normally crumbs sometimes from breadcrumbs mixed with flour, starch, spices, herbs, and also nuts and seeds. So at the beginning we use reclaimed breadcrumb. So reclaimed breadcrumb means that when we have bread, the company manufacturer that sell bread, for example Sari Roti, sell bread, bread plain bread, in bahasa roti tawar, plain bread. So the plain bread not sold in the market, so the company take back that already expired from the market, the bread that not sold in the market. So they process this bread into that we call reclaimed breadcrumb, from unsold bread. So we try it and maybe toasted, ground. So but here normally it's not used any longer. Maybe a little bit used, but not in the big company. So maybe sell in the small industry like this. Normally we use dedicated crumb, industrial crumb. So at the beginning, the company made by formulation dough of bread, but not sold to the market. The bread just directly dried and grown into the breadcrumb. So that we call it industrial crumb. This is not from unsold bread, but directly from the beginning they process bread to produce breadcrumb. So in Indonesia normally there is the sister company from Sari Roti, this Saritama processing just produce breadcrumb. Maybe you as a consumer we don't find in the market. We don't find in the market for industrial crumb like this. Okay, this is just not type for the breadcrumb. There's also Japanese style crumb, extruded crumb that are produced by using extrusion, and also cracker mills, so mill made like from the crackers, biscuit crackers, and here also there is only flour breader, so maybe like karage, so this flour breaders and press crumb, so just undried breadcrumb, so the dough of breadcrumb still fresh, used as a coating. Yeah, that's fresh crumb. So give light and also crispy texture. Yeah, but the problem is perishable. Yeah, due to the moisture content, and here must be stored and refrigerated for the fresh crumb. So the dough of crumb, yeah, sold directly in the manufacturer of coated meat. Yeah, coated product meat. Sometimes also by using cereal flake. Yeah, you know cereal flake, for example, corn flake. Yeah, that grind into the uh, uh, into the ground, yeah, ground and into the flake, yeah, small flake, and apply as the breading. Yeah. Okay. Also potato flakes, yeah, that made that normally by using like by using drum dryer and then followed by the we can get a flake, yeah, from potato flake. Also dry flavoring or dry sauces, yeah, we can also use to replace as a breading here. Yeah, this is normally to contribute in color and also flavor, yeah, for dry flavoring and dry sausage. So here just an example for the breadcrumb. Yeah, yes, that fine breadcrumb. Yeah, here is coarse breadcrumb for the tempura. Maybe with using the leaven also, yeah. And here the also with using the flavoring, yeah. And here also the crumb that or coarse also, yeah, very big size, yeah, granule. Okay, later we will discuss about the effect of this, yeah, in terms of the color of the coated product, yeah, and also the texture, yeah. Okay, here's just the example for the application of breading application, yeah. Okay, here also just another type for application in industry, yeah, the mechanism of breading application for flour. So the process in coated product, yeah, we can call single pass, yeah, when we use only bread-dust, butter, or crumb, then frying, yeah, that's single pass. We can also call multi-pass. We can use, yeah. This is to increase yield, yeah, to increase yield, yeah, percent pick up, yeah. We call pick up. Pick up means the increase of weight, yeah, the increase of weight, the product, yeah. For example, at the beginning, the meat is 50 gram. After the process pre-dust, increase become 55 gram. So we have pick up around 5 divided 50 times 100%. So we get pick up 10%, yeah, in the pre-dust. Then after pre-dust, put in the butter. Maybe I can give the example for pick up, yeah, to make easy. So the weight initial for meat, yeah, meat dough, yeah, and for meat, for example, 50 gram, yeah. Now after pre-dust, yeah, pre-dust is the first step, yeah. We have 55 gram, for example, yeah, the weight of after pre-dust. So here the pickup is pickup for pre-dust. This the increase of weight, yeah. So 5, yeah, because the increase is 5 divided by 50, yeah, the initial weight, yeah, 50, yeah, times 100%, 100, yeah. So we got pick up how many? 5 times 2, yeah, so 10%, yeah, 10% pick up, yeah. If we got the scheme this, yeah, we got here is 10% pick up. So after after buttering, we got the sorry, where is the pen? It's Sorry. So after the butter, when we cut the after buttering, the weight is 65. Yeah. So 65 grams. Sorry. How many the pick up? Pick up after buttering. The pick up is we can take from the reference for the beginning. Yeah. So the pick up after buttering is on 15%, 15 gram divided 50 times 100%. So if we get 65, so the pickup is 30%. Yeah. If the buttering, sorry, 30%. You know, coming from where the 30%? Yeah, coming from 15%. Yeah, 15 gram divided by 50 times 100%. So we get 30%, because 65 minus 50 is equal 15. Yeah, 15 divided 50 times 100%. So we get 30%. Yeah. So finally, after crumb, yeah, after bread, yeah, after breading. Sorry, after breading. Yes. So for example, after breading, we got times, yeah, 75 gram. So here the pick up total after breading, yeah, the breading is 50%, the pick up, yeah. Okay, yeah. So here just the example for the pick up. Yeah, the meaning of pick up mean the increase of yield, the increase of weight. Yeah, during the pre-dash, after buttering, after breading. Yeah. Okay, so we can also to increase the yield, the pick up, we can make a multi-pass. Yeah. Sorry, I can remove the. So for example, here for the multi-pass, yes, pre-dash, butter, breading, then back to butter, breadcrumb, yeah, then frying. The step can be also 3 times, yeah. This is 2 times, 3 times, yeah. Normally 3 times is already get more than 50% the yield, yeah. Maybe if one get 60%, yeah, or 60%, so maybe we have to use 3 times pass, yeah, from breading crumb with buttering, breading crumb, buttering crumb, buttering 3 times, yeah. Okay, and then butter temperature, there's 3 stage system, yeah. Pre-dash, butter that adhesive, breading with crumb, then buttering with temperature, and frying. So there is 2 type of butter, yeah. Butter that for adhesive, and butter temperature that for make a leavening for the more crispy texture. Yeah, the butter temperature normally to get a crispy texture, followed by frying. This the 3-stage system. Yeah, but normally the popular is the single phase. Yeah, this are applicable in the sea. Here normally for the tempura, it's Japanese style. Yeah, yeah. Okay, still here for the example, the equipment. Yeah, I think we can pass. Yeah, the equipment. Okay, so the quality of coated products, yeah, depend on the pickup. Yeah, we can measure the pickup. Normally, the pickup must fulfill the standard. Yeah, in US, the total pickup is not allowed more than 30%. Yeah, the maximum is 30%. But in another country, we can use pickup yeah, until 60 or 50% in Canada, yeah, and Indonesia maybe for Shams, yeah, the brand Shams, yeah, is very thick, yeah, the coating is very thick, so maybe the pick up is more than 50%, yeah. But for Vista, yeah, the brand Vista, yeah, maybe less than 50%. Yeah. Also, so there is also the texture, yeah, crispiness, yeah. We can measure the crispiness by using texture analyzer, yeah. We have one, yeah, Stable Microsystem, yeah, good texture analyzer. Also to the addition, yeah, so that if there is a separation, yeah, between the coating and the meat, yeah, this called not good, yeah. Normally with good addition, there is no separation, yeah, there is no peel off the coating from the meat, yeah. And also blow off, yeah, means the coated is blow like this, yeah, so make also separation from the meat, yeah, blow off, yeah. And uniformity, yeah, this must be uniform, yeah, homogeneous, yeah, like this, yeah. And there is film forming, yeah, and during the buttering process, yeah, during the buttering process there is film that when we cut cross section, yeah, we can observe the film forming, yeah. And also we can also characterize as oil pickup, yeah. Sometimes we want that the oil pickup, in your opinion, we want oil pickup higher or lower? Okay, please make your opinion. Oil pickup.
I think lower.
Lower, yeah. What is the benefit when the oil pickup is lower?
If our product picks so many oil, it can be oxidized.
Yes.
It will turn the product bad quickly.
Yes. Okay. Very good. This is in term for the product, your oil pickup. When the oil content in the product is very high, yeah. So there is risk of oxidation, yeah. There's shorter shelf life, yeah. And also for the consumer, yeah, consumer that concerned about the fat content, yeah. So avoid to buy the product that get high fat, yeah. This is in term for product. Also in term of the production to minimize cost, to reduce cost, yeah. With the oil pickup high, so it means the company lost the oil to frying, yeah, for frying. So must be put the new oil, frying oil always, yeah. So by using the low, if we got lower oil pickup, so the oil can retain, yeah. So more economic, yeah. No need to frequently add the frying oil, yeah. This is to side, yeah, to side of the benefit. Oil pickup must be lower, yeah. And for the freeze-thaw stability, yeah, here I think it must be stable, yeah, for the freeze-thaw stability. So after freezing, after in frozen condition, yeah, doing the thawing must be stable, yeah, not become soft, not become there is loss of addition, etc. Yeah. And finally, in terms of the sensory, yeah, the appearance, taste and flavor, yeah, crispiness, juiciness, and also the color, yeah. This must be good, yeah. Okay, so that's all for the coated product for chicken-based, yeah, coated product. I think for fish product also, the basic process the same, yeah, all is the same. Just the difference is the material, yeah. The term how to prepare the meat dough, yeah. In fish, normally we use only the fish. Normally, sometimes because we use fish fillet, yeah, fish fillet, or sometimes also we can use like what's meant surimi, yeah, like almost like surimi, like this, yeah. Just by using surimi, cutting in some from this, yeah. something like this. Yeah, coated fish product. Little bit. So here the example. Yeah, many types of fish product. Here this the fish. Yeah, with the bone intake here. And also here likely the nugget. Yeah, fish nugget. Yeah. This also fish nugget. Yeah, the fish finger. Yeah. So just different reset in the material, yeah, but all is the same, yeah, the principle, yeah. So I just pass, yeah, yeah. So the simple if by using fish block, yeah, directly fish block here is the normally means meat, yeah, means the meat already grown meat, yeah, and freeze, yeah. So we got here fish block. Yeah, it's surimi also. The form surimi is like block here, but for surimi is just pure the protein, yeah, without the sarcoplasmic protein. The most is myofibril protein for the surimi, yeah. But here for fish block is whole fish meat, yeah, fish meat all grown and make a block like this, yeah. So in coated product, just cutting and then followed by pre-dusting, buttering, breading, yeah, and frying. So we got product like this. Yeah. So please watching the video. Yeah, make flow process charge. Yeah, if you want to make better understand the process. Yeah. Okay. So.
Since prehistoric times, the Inuit have used quick freezing to preserve fish. They threw their catch onto the Arctic ice to instantly freeze it. It wasn't until the early 20th century that the rest of the world discovered that this was better than slow freezing. It's a case of progress moving at a glacial pace. Fish that's rapidly frozen right on the ship is more flavorful and retains its texture. This is minced cod, frozen solid. It underwent quick freezing in China and was shipped in this frozen state all the way to this Nova Scotia facility where it will be turned into fish sticks. A worker loads the fish blocks into a machine. A powerful ram forces the blocks through knives, which slice them into logs that are about 48 centimeters in length. Workers load the logs vertically into slots. Below, more knives slice the logs into sticks. They get 85 fish sticks from one log. Yeah. They check for breaks as the sticks move to the next station. At another production line, they dump quick frozen haddock fillets into a big steel hopper. It funnels them to a flighted conveyor. The conveyor meters the fillets and drops each bunch onto a vibrating table.
Fillet fish, yeah. Fish fillet.
The vibrations separate the fillets as they move into lanes and shuffle down to an inspection station where flaws can be easily spotted. Now it's time for a hot shower. It lasts just a second. The hot water melts the fillet's protective glaze, but doesn't thaw the fish itself. Deglazing allows the coating mixture to stick to the fish. The fish sticks are now traveling through a curtain of batter made of flour, water, and spices. The excess collects in a pan below and coats the bottoms of the fish sticks. Back on the haddock production line, they're loading a toasted wheat blend into a machine called a breader. It creates a thick shower of crumbs below that evenly coats the fillets as they journey through. Then Then the breaded frozen fillets head for the fryer. The fish sticks go through a fryer too, for 28 seconds, just long enough to cook the outside coating, but the fish remains frozen on the inside. With the coating baked on, the fish sticks and fillets are now en route to the freezers. Meanwhile, over on a third production line, they dump oil and red peppers into a high-speed mixer. They add some parsley for seasoning, then hand stir it while its steam cooks. The red pepper sauce cascades from an applicator, saturating these frozen tilapia fillets. This coating sticks without being fried, so the tilapia fillets head straight for the spiraling freezer. The fish sticks and breaded haddock fillets are in similar freezers. After 45 minutes, the haddock slides down the chute which weighs it to portion it out. Heated jaws seal the bagged haddock fillets. An oscillating feeder deposits the fish sticks into boxes. One last inspection, and they're ready for retail. They vacuum pack the tilapia fillets, and this meal is sealed. And now, there's plenty of fish to fry, depending on where your tastes lie.
Okay, so there is a lot of type of fish product, yeah. So there is a different type for fish finger, yeah, just from fish block, yeah, but also from fish fillet, yeah, fish fillet, and that also coated product, and also that's just only in the frozen, yeah, without frying, yeah. So please, yeah, you take a note about this, yeah. Okay, this just for, I think, the same principle, yeah. Just the example to give you the buttered and the breaded fish, yeah. So almost the same, yeah. You can pass, yeah. So here just the example, yeah, for the other product, but using first dip, second butter, yeah, and inclusion of maybe just another type by using beer to give the puffiness, yeah. Okay, this is the example for breading and buttering processing line, yeah. So yeah, unit for butter application, yeah, in the industry. Yeah, we have already seen, yeah, in the video, yeah. So the buttering also we have already discussed, yeah, type of this, yeah. So also that's for breading application for to apply breadcrumb, yeah. Yeah, also for the type for tempura, buttering, and frying, yeah. So just to explain the equipment, yeah, use and the condition used, yeah, for setting the frying process, yeah. And also from fish, yeah, we can also use as a shellfish, yeah. Normally shrimp, yeah, shrimp is very popular, yeah, and people like eat shrimp, yeah, shrimp or prawn, yeah. We call shrimp normally, yeah. So normally there is many type of shrimp, coated shrimp, yeah, breaded, yeah, tempura shrimp, yeah, likely breaded, yeah, 65% minimum shrimp, breaded, yeah, minimum 50% minimum shrimp. So like the nugget, yeah, nugget also the minimum meat content is 50%, yeah. Also we can use imitation shrimp, yeah, less than 50% shrimp, yeah. And breading is normally very close to Japanese style, like the tempura bread or tempura, yeah. So here the visualization, the example, yeah, I think we have seen in the factory, yeah, we have already for the fish fillet product. Here maybe for using the shrimp, shrimp product, maybe to Indonesia also, have the manufacturer for coated product, based on shrimp, based on shrimp. Please let's watching this laptop si Unyil,
Siapa sih yang gak ngiler melihat semua makanan yang terbuat dari udang ini? Udang kan terkenal sebagai salah satu jenis seafood yang bergizi tinggi. Nah, sekarang Unyil mau mengajak teman-teman ke pabrik pengolahan udang yang ada di Kota Makassar, Sulawesi Selatan. Pabrik ini memproduksi berbagai macam olahan udang loh. Salah satunya Ebi Fry Black Tiger atau udang tepung dari jenis udang windu Black Tiger. Kita lihat langsung yuk prosesnya. Loh, kok banyak roti sih? Ini pabrik udang apa pabrik roti sih?
So here the breadcrumb is made by the company itself.
Gak usah bingung-bingung. Roti-roti ini sengaja disiapkan untuk dibuat tepung roti. Roti yang terbuat dari tepung gandum harus dihancurkan dulu menggunakan mesin sampai menjadi serpihan tepung roti. Ayak tepung roti untuk memisahkan tepung yang halus dengan yang kasar. Oke deh, tepung roti inilah yang nantinya dipakai untuk membuat berbagai olahan udang tepung seperti Ebi Fry. Nah, ini dia udangnya. Udang windu adalah jenis udang laut yang banyak dibudidayakan di Indonesia. Sebelum diolah menjadi Ebi Fry, udang windu yang masih segar harus disortir dulu berdasarkan kualitas fisiknya. Mulai dari kualitas paling bagus, yaitu A3, sampai kualitas biasa, yaitu C atau D. Selain melihat kualitas fisik, petugas juga harus menguji udang dalam laboratorium. Tujuannya untuk mengetahui kandungan bakteri pada sampel udang. Apabila jumlah bakteri melebihi batas toleransi, maka daging udang dinyatakan tidak segar lagi dan tidak layak untuk diolah menjadi makanan. Udang yang sudah disortir dan lolos uji bakteri, kemudian dipotong bagian kepalanya untuk dibuang. Karena bagian kepala udang windu ini sangat keras dan tidak bisa dimakan. Setelah itu, disortir lagi menggunakan mesin grader untuk dikelompokkan berdasarkan ukuran tubuhnya. Proses selanjutnya adalah pengupasan kulit udang sekaligus membersihkan dagingnya. Saluran usus yang berwarna hitam harus diangkat supaya daging udang benar-benar terlihat bersih. Proses ini butuh ketelitian tingkat tinggi. Karena itu harus dilakukan secara manual oleh para ahlinya. Oh iya, khusus untuk bagian ekor tidak boleh dibuang ya. Harus disisakan untuk mempertahankan wujud udangnya. Udang yang sudah dikupas kemudian ditimbang dan disusun dalam loyang kecil. Selanjutnya akan dibawa ke proses penepungan. Proses penepungan memakai 3 bahan pelapis. Lapisan pertama menggunakan bahan tepung halus atau yang disebut predas. Lalu lapisan kedua menggunakan tepung cair yang sudah diberi bumbu-bumbu. Dan lapisan terakhir menggunakan tepung roti kasar supaya eddy fry-nya menjadi kriuk-kriuk saat digoreng. Udang yang sudah dilumuri tepung kemudian dibekukan di dalam mesin pendingin dengan suhu hingga minus 40 derajat Celcius. Alamak, lebih dingin daripada di kutub nih. Pada suhu di bawah minus 18 derajat Celcius, bakteri pembusuk pada udang gak akan bekerja dan berkembang biak. Jadi, daging udang tetap segar meskipun disimpan dalam pendingin berbulan-bulan. Udang tepung yang sudah beku kemudian dikemas dalam plastik dan kardus untuk selanjutnya diekspor ke luar negeri, salah satunya Jepang.
Okay, so you watch the video, yeah, that this product for the breaded shrimp, yeah, not yet fried, yeah, to export, yeah, but you remark that there are 3 steps, yeah, pre-dust, yeah, very fine flour, but not explained in the video, and then buttering, yeah, and then by using the very coarse flour, yeah, it's a breadcrumb, yeah. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, some consideration and buttering and breading, yeah, the coating type, and also here yeah, I think must be remarked, Amit. So the coating type and also the type of the bread, yeah, this very important, yeah, because this affect the quality of coated product, yeah. So we have to ask ourselves what type of texture, yeah, appearance, and also taste, yeah, is desired, yeah. For example, crunchy, yeah, and dark butter, or soft or white butter, etc. So this is many study, yeah, concerning about this, yeah. So here in this figure, yeah, here is the breading granulation can influence crust color, yeah, the crust, this the breadcrumb granule, yeah. So when you can see here the frying color, light, medium, and dark, yeah, this affected by the granulation of breadcrumb that is used, yeah, this fine, medium, and coarse. So when we use fine granule of breadcrumb, yeah, the color is light, yeah, like the color with the finer granule. But if we have coarse granule, yeah, we can obtain the darker color. Yeah, so this, yeah. So the finer breading give a lighter color, yeah, and the bigger breading granule, coarse bread give darker color. Yeah, the answer is this, yeah. Then how about this, yeah? Smaller bread granule results lower or higher crispiness. This is a question, yeah. In your opinion, please answer. Lower or higher crispiness? According to the picture, yeah. The picture it has the resulted from the experiment, yeah, from the study. Yes.
Hi.
Yeah, Akmal, you want to answer?
Higher, sir.
Yeah, higher. higher crispiness. Yes, please look at the picture. Yeah, smaller bread mean the
mesh
is higher. Yeah, okay, so it's much higher here. So when the mass is the smash for the smaller bread mean smash is higher. Okay, here for example, here is the crispiness is low. So smaller bread granule resulted in lower crispiness. Yeah, okay. What is your answer? Higher. So the opposite. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
mass size. Yeah. If mass size smaller, so means the granule is bigger. Yeah, bigger granule here. The finer granule is here. Yeah, the mass is higher. Mass mean is number of hole. Yeah, in the sieving. Yeah, the siever. Yeah. Okay. So the correct answer is lower crispiness. Yeah, and then please look at the figure. Yeah, here the abscess. Yeah, shift mass also. Yeah, mass. So which means this remark which one the bigger granule. Bigger granule means here. Yeah, here is finer granule. Yeah, so the smaller bread granule result better or poor coverage, yeah? Better or worse coverage?
Better.
Yes, Marita?
Better, sir.
If better, yeah. Okay, because 10 to good, so better coverage, yeah. Correct answer, yeah, better coverage. Thank you. Okay, yes. The effect of size of bread as a granulation affect the pickup of coated product. Yeah, and we have here the maximum, the optimum around here. Yeah, to get the pickup. Yeah, too big is not good. Too fine also is not good. Yeah, for the pickup. Yeah, in terms of pickup. Yeah, okay. We have the optimum is around 5 or 9. Yeah, 5 or 9 mass. Yeah, for the granule size. Okay, also here some consideration and coating formula. Yeah, so when we have a balance like this, yeah, in left, yeah, here to strengthen to make a strength texture. Yeah, here for the right is right hand. Here is for tenderizer. Yeah. So, for example, when we want the coated product have a firm texture, yeah, hard texture, we have to put this. Yeah, the egg white is so here is the impact is very big. Yeah, so the egg white and with flour and starch here is give big impact. Yeah, spices and salt is low. Yeah. And to tenderize, we use leavening agent. Yeah, make the texture is more soft. Yeah, more crispy. Yeah, crispiness. Tenderizer, so more soft texture. Yeah, the far from the center means give the big impact, the biggest impact for tenderizer. To tenderize, the leavening agent is the best option by using this. Yeah. Then emulsifier and shortening. Shortening is a kind of fat. Yeah, shortening, and also egg yolk. Yeah, and sugar. Yeah. So here for the coated products formulation. Here is for the frying color. Yes, the color of coated product. So in the left, yeah, is to make a darker color, and for right here to get a lighter fried color. Yeah, so when we use low amylose with flour, yeah, here to get lighter color. Starch also to make a lighter color. Yeah, rice flour also. And here for the left, yeah, to get a darker color, when you use dextrose or glucose, yeah, it is a kind of what is that we call sugar, reducing sugar. Yeah, so make tend the Maillard reaction, yeah, very high concentration dextrose to make darker color, yeah. MSC also have a effect on darkening color, yeah. And here for with flower away, yes, little bit, yeah, because near from the center means the impact is not too big, yeah. Here impact is big, but I think the balance here means that here is very strong effect, yeah, by using the starch rice flour to get the lighter color. Yeah.